So I'm going to talk about the schedule a little bit, and this is just a schedule that we'll kind of all follow because we will be doing kind of a rotation model. But you can see when kids come in at 8:50 is when the first bell is, and try to get your kids here on time. That is always helpful. We have a morning meeting that your child will stay with their homeroom teacher for either math, which will be with myself, Mr. Carr will be reading, Ms. Walters will be writing, social studies, science. From there we have specialists, which we'll have 3 specialists this year, which changes because last year we had 4, music, art, and gym. We do have an intervention enrichment time, which we'll all do together, plus some of the other teachers will be helping us out in pairs. Recess lunch, and then from there, right after lunch, we go to rotation 2. So, like for instance, my students will be learning Ms. Walters at that time, and I believe I will be taking Mr. Carhart's at that time. And it's about 75-minute blocks. From there, we have rotation 3, which will be the last rotation. I think my kids will end up with Mr. Carhart for reading. We end the day just like normal with planners, back in your homeroom at dismissal. If you're worried at this moment, please don't be. I think we take a lot of pride in building relationships with children, with our students. I think that's how you get a lot of improvement as you build that rapport. And I think that we are definitely all masters at that. So if you do have any concerns though, please send us an email about the schedule or questions or back in the classroom.
So I'll be teaching writing, and I'm doing it through the Writer's Workshop approach. And our units of study are personal narratives, and we'll start that right away in September. Informational reports, and we'll be doing that on a state, and we're going to integrate it into reading with Ryan. And we're going to do book reviews and a procedural test.
So I'm a math teacher. My emphasis is in math, so I do love math. I was actually in mechanical engineering for like 3 years of college, and that's a whole other story. But our math curriculum is everyday math still. However, I do like doing a lot of supplementing with some conceptual hands-on learning. I'm a big proponent of student engagement, so we will do a lot of stations. I also do think that research shows that students knowing their math facts, so simple math facts, is important, so we will be spending a lot of time on that, as the new expectation is for all of our 4th graders to be fluent at addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. There will be some homework, as we always do. You said in 3rd grade, we call them not home links, we call them study links. Don't fret, children. I'm going to make this fun. You're going to have a good time with it, okay? Yes, I'm looking at you. We also have assessments. We will be sending the assessments home for signatures. So if your child brings their assessment home, it's graded and it says parent sign. That's just for you to look at it. Hopefully it will be corrected already in class, but if you're seeing a weakness, that's a good time to have that conversation of, okay, we need to look at area a little bit better and see where the misconception is. I will be sending home some more resources about Khan Academy and some online stuff that you can also supplement at home.
So again, I'm Mr. Carr, and I'm going to be teaching literacy to all of the 4th graders in the building this year. In Bloomington, we use something called the Balanced Literacy Framework, which affords students an opportunity to read by themselves, read with a small group, and to read with a teacher each day. We're going to be practicing some comprehension strategies that will help them make sense of the text. We'll use something called a reader's notebook that they'll respond to me in writing about the reading that they're doing on their own. And I write the notes back, and we have a conversation via writing back and forth. We'll have basically one homework assignment, which is to complete a golden ticket, which is reading 25 minutes a day. And that's typically due on Wednesday, and we'll communicate about that when we start our rotations. It's really important for students to choose just right books for their independent reading, and this is probably something you've heard before. But what this means is if a student picks up a text and they read maybe a paragraph or an entire page, they should be making no more than 5 mistakes on that page for it to be a just right book. What typically happens if the student's missing more than 5 words, comprehension, they tend to struggle a little bit and may not be able to make sense of the text. So I think 3 to 4 errors per page is a good rule of thumb. We have a lot of online resources in literacy and reading. We do have access to RAS Kids, which some kids really are motivated by. Something new this year is Studies Weekly, which is an old newspaper that is actually online. It's interactive like Scholastic News, if students have interacted with that previously. There's videos. We actually went with the Minnesota theme this year, so we're going to be reading and learning about Minnesota if they choose to read that text. We also, students will get access to Hennepin County Library. If they don't have a card right now, they'll be issued a card this year, and will access books online, which they can open up in their browser right on their Chromebooks. And then lastly, we are also going to have access to something called Scholastic News, and we'll have access to that online as well.
All right, I'll be teaching science this year. We have a few fun units. So they are water, magnetism and electricity, an engineering model, matter and energy, earth materials. My room is full of art supplies everywhere. Social studies, geography, citizenship and government, economics, and the research project, which is on state and health, nutrition, and communicable diseases.
Raise your hand if you love field trips. Me too. However, when I was a kid, we only had one field trip a year, and it was like, we're going to the bakery. I was a small town kid, but as you can see, there's a lot of field trips up here. I love field trips. I think that they make learning real, authentic, and we do a lot of stuff that ties right to our curriculum. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the field trips that we have up here. The first one that actually starts in September here is called the Kindness Retreat. It's a Youth Frontiers. Fun little field trip. It's an all-day field trip that all 4th graders, all teachers, including a 5th grade teacher and a special teacher, we learn about kindness. And I think this is probably one of the most important things that we all can learn. We learn about different things like the kindness boomerang. If you give out kindness, it usually will come back to you. It's an anti-bullying message, and it's just pure adrenaline, pure fun. I actually have to bring earplugs to this field trip. It's so much fun. So, but definitely on September 22nd, definitely ask your child about this field trip, because it sends just an awesome message of empathy, kindness, treating others how you want to be treated. If you go down, we also support the Jefferson High School Theater. I still do not know what play we're going to, but that's a fun little half-day field trip where we talk about just different theater etiquette, which is important for our students to know. But it's also just fun to see some of our old students from Normandale actually performing on stage, and then hopes that some of our children will someday be up there too. The Baca Museum is a great field trip in January. This ties with our science curriculum.
It's a hair-raising experience.
Hair-raising. Has anybody ever been to Baca? Anybody ever been to Baca Museum? If you haven't, I really recommend to take the family there. It's very interactive. It goes around the themes of magnetism, which equates to also electricity. Probably the best part, I think, is the Frankenstein exhibit, which Earl Bakken was motivated to become an engineer through the story of Frankenstein. But that's definitely hair-raising as well. But that's in January, and that ties directly to what Ms. Walters will be teaching in science. At the end of the year in May, we also go to usually the Capitol. However, the Capitol's under renovation, so we started going to the Minnesota History Center last year, which is also a great place where you should take your child. Very interactive. It's when I think of history as a kid, I thought it was typically kind of boring, to be honest. But this is the exact polar opposite of boring at this place. We also go to Fort Snelling, which is one of the older settlements in Minnesota. America's past and is there, and it's alive in an interactive way where we kind of go back in the past and see what Fort Snelling was like a couple hundred years ago. And then finally the big one, which I saw a lot of kids put on their scavenger hunt, is Camp St. Croix. This is a 3-day, 2-night field trip. There will be more information coming in January. I believe it's January 9th, but don't quote me on that. And that's where you are going to come and hear information about Camp St. Croix. Camp St. Croix is an environmental field trip that ties to our social studies and science curriculum. It's an overnight field trip. We usually get about 95% participation. So it's usually sometimes the first time your child is away from home, but I'm just seeing my some of my students back there. Did you guys have a good time at? Oh wait, I don't know if you guys went to Camp St. Croix. No Camp St. Croix? Okay, I won't bring that up.
We went.
Oh, did you love it? Nick? Yep, Sam and Joe. Yep, great experience. And that's May 4th through the 6th. It's a Wednesday through Friday. I kind of lead that a little bit. It's kind of my thing that I hang my hat on. I can't say enough great words about it. So, and that's like I said in May.
I might just add that our wonderful PTA has helped us to make sure that the 4th grade can continue to go to the kindness retreat. So if you're not a member of PTA, that's some great work that they're doing. Secondly, they help with our Camp St. Croix in covering expenses for students who aren't able to go, so or aren't able to play, excuse me. So we thank our PTA for that. Another exciting piece for 4th grade is we piloted a program last year where every 4th grader went one-to-one with a Chromebook device, and we did that very responsibly. So this year we are going to be going one-to-one again with all of our 4th grade students. Chromebooks are part of the technology referendum from 2 years ago, if you remember that. This is our 2nd year of implementation. We're going to roll out the Chromebooks at the beginning of October. We're going to keep them at school, so parents were asking tonight. We're going to keep them at school until we make a decision that our 4th graders are ready to be taking them home and back to school. So until you hear from us, they are going to be kept at school. And then we are following the 5th grade model, and we use them similarly, and so they'll be prepared as they move up to 5th grade. And so lastly, we just would ask that you have any questions when you can report to the classroom and ask your teacher if you have any questions. And we're really excited to have your wonderful children join us in 4th grade. I'm excited to be able to teach 80 students rather than just 25, so I look forward to that. And again, if you have any questions or concerns, just feel free to email us and we respond rapidly. So, thank you.
Thank you. And I have one thing to say before you hold that applause for Mr. Garvis. You did great. Mr. Bowman just mentioned that as you walk by those tables and you see the lunch room or the lunch account, just take some time to look at those tables. They provide great opportunities for your children, and they kind of just provide different co-curricular activities that your child might be interested in. But thanks for coming. We're going to have a little bit of time back in our classroom if you have questions, or also if your student has not put their supplies in their desk. So thank you very much.